All right, so we're recording and we are on an inside job. I've been doing a series of interviews with some just phenomenal women who are working at home, supporting other women to do with their businesses or their relationships or their health. Because we're in a very, very, very special time right now. And I've just been talking to Sabine about my family having 4 boys in the house, a lot of testosterone, a lot of energy that's not being used up. And she's sharing with me about what goes on in her house as well. Because, you know, if it's not one thing, it's another. And as usual, I mean, it's the parents, but often it comes down to the woman in the family. You know, we are the linchpin. We're the ones who kind of have to come up with the creative ideas and think about what's food, or, you know, oh, we can't get hold of that today, so how are we going to manage this? And get rid of the kind of like the angst and the tantrums and the sadness and the, oh, I can't see my friends, the teenage, you know, woes. And, you know, where are we in all of that? How is that affecting us when we're here to support other people with their businesses, with their health, with their mental attitude? So, hello, Sabine.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here today, because this is all an inside job. And like you said, just before I pressed record, you know, this is all happening for a reason. If I'm feeling this, oh my God, so many other people must be feeling this as well. So how are you doing? What's the best things and what's the worst thing that are happening for you right now?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I'm a very real person, and as you know, I've just been about half an hour late for this call because my daughter had a tantrum, and I was telling you this morning we were just sorting out the groceries. That's where the morning went. So it's very, very real. And yes, I have my own business. I have 2 businesses that I'm running. I have also community calls. I'm supporting other women through this crisis, and of course, I have 2 children and a husband. So that's, pretty much full on, you can say, you know. But I almost feel like, I don't know where this strength is coming from. It's like all of a sudden I have this power, this superpower, and you just step into it. As you have to do it, you just step into it. And many times I'm actually thinking to myself, is this really happening? I mean, if someone had told me like just 3 months ago, you will be in this situation and many people will die and you will have to clean your groceries before you put them in the fridge, I would have said, really? You know, I would have panicked probably, and maybe I would have not been able to cope. But I think we as human beings, actually, when we step into that situation, I think we are coping. We can cope, you know, unless we completely let ourselves fall apart. And you know, but if you are thinking logically and you're thinking, well, this going to be an end to it at some point, and we'll just have to grin and bear it, then we will do whatever we can to get through.
We're far more resilient than we think we're going to be. If we knew what the situation was going to be like you say, we probably would have panicked. We couldn't have planned for all the eventualities. It's just the way it is. We're not in wartime. You know, if you think, it totally gives you total respect for our previous generations who were in wartime, who had to restrict their food, who had to do so many different things. And we've just only had a glimpse, a taste of that. And oh my God, some people really can't cope. I know that, you know, a lot of people are turning to sort of food or drink or whatever it is, or Netflix or whatever it is, that whatever gets you through the day. Do you know what? That's okay. There's no judgment, whatever gets you through the day. But what I wanted to talk about also is kind of like how you cope, how resilient are you, all the things that you can do to help support your family, help to support your business. But most importantly, I'm interested in you. You know, I'm interested in what kind of things are you doing to help you? Because at some point, I mean, I know myself, I'm kind of, I could just do with a day. I could just do with a retreat. I could just do with locking the door somewhere, going off somewhere, and creating that space within my own home where it's like, oh my God, this is just a sanctuary. I don't have to be on call. I know if I want to do a meditation or something like that, I have to inform everybody in the house. Within 5 seconds, they've forgotten. They've forgotten that I would really appreciate time out and quiet. And I'm going to be in a much better mood when I come out if I get my half an hour or whatever it is. or if I'm writing my book, you know, I really do need, please don't just keep knocking on the door and giving me imbecile questions. I need that really important downtime so that I can do the creative stuff that I need. Yeah, so would you love a retreat right now?
Yeah, of course I could do with the holiday. I mean, this is, for me, it's even more busy than usual with all the stuff that I've been doing. I kind of feel like I've been working towards this sort of time where people actually need exactly what I do in my business,
Yeah.
which is strange to come to this conclusion. But I mean, from a coping perspective, I'm actually more balanced than normally. I
Yeah.
feel like, because I am actually letting in more of that um, energetic side, and more of the meditations, and
Yeah.
and doing that. And now the next question may be, well, how do you create that space if you got like two kids knocking on your door? But basically, we're actually doing it together. They're actually sold on meditations, and they want to do meditation with me. So we're actually doing on my phone, just playing that meditation, and then we're doing it together.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we have created. The other thing is, what we've created is reading time. So I love reading my books. So when there's reading time, when mummy's reading time, it's their reading time too. So we'll just take that half an hour.
Yeah.
Right. And the rest, yes, they can go and watch TV, you know, to a certain extent, once they've done their homework and once all that is done. And it gives me time to slip out a couple of. And then my husband and I, we have a bit of a rota where, you know, we work on at different times. So one is kind of with the kids, although they don't need that much supervision, but we have that sort of thing where I can actually have uninterrupted time. So they're not going to come knocking whilst he's with them, and then vice versa as well.
Yeah.
When I am with them, you know, we play stuff like, we've been playing Monopoly over the last 3 or 4 days now, because it's a never-ending game, and until everyone's got a hotel, and houses and all. It's fun, right? And I heard my kids actually talking to the neighbor child over the fence, as they can't get together right now. That's another thing, like, we had to talk to them about, and because they're the same age as they're best friends. And it's like, no, mom's the best, she's so much fun, she plays Monopoly with us and she does all this stuff with us. And I'm like, oh, that's nice to hear, you know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Basically, this is the time to actually give our children, because we're too busy otherwise. We may be going to an office 9 to 5, and you're just not there, and you know. So just don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty. Just relax and sit back. And even if you work from home, I don't think anyone's really 8 hours productive if you were to go in an office. If you look at the productive time, you'd only work for half of that, because half are meetings and coffee breaks, right? So I think from that perspective, if you can arrange your work around fewer hours and still have that quality time.
Yeah. I think this
I'm breaking up a little bit. I might be breaking up.
Yeah,
My
you're
Zoom's
up a little bit, but
cutting off. I'm not
it's
sure.
normal. It's just as it is. But I think what I'm really learning about this particular time, I was saying to my kids the other day, you know, I never got to play with my parents unless we were on holiday, and to sort of have that sort of scheduled time in when you're actually able to sort of communicate with your kids and be with the people in your family. But you know, quality time, that kind of thing within your family, I think is really important. It's great.
The thing is as well, it's not only the quality time creates beautiful memories, I think, because there's a danger that us as adults, of course, because we see the news, we realize what's going on, and we may, you know, have some sort of mental wobbles because of that. And I mean, imagine how our children may feel, or even the elderly parents or other relatives. So we got to be strong for everyone, and to create that space and have that quality time, and just be a child again and play with them, and you know, just do something with them, something fun.
I think creating the memories is absolutely essential. And the value, I think that, you know, everybody's discovering new value in their families or new value in whatever they're missing. They think, well, this is way more important than spending all day at work and really hiding behind my job. You know, what do I really, really value? So if anything, you know, a lot of people are sort of getting out of this, wow, I really miss this. This is something that I really want to build into my life in future. I mean, whether, you know, whether it's to do with, you know, health or relationships or business or time out or whatever it is, that's the value I think that, you know, the majority of the people can actually get out of this. But obviously, I don't know about you, but I mean, my parents are far, far away. So there's more communication with them as well. So thank goodness for internet, because I know, you know, maybe a few years ago or something like that, that wouldn't have been possible to sort of have quite such good communication via Skype or Zoom or FaceTime or any of those kind of things. So,
Yeah.
and also know that, you know, they're on their own or they're not very well, that they're able to be cared for, and you can arrange certain things over the internet that you wouldn't be able to do. I mean, you know, we're able to organise our shopping over the internet. We were just talking about Amazon deliveries. You know, those kind of things just wouldn't have been available before.
Yeah, absolutely. Although I feel like, I mean, certainly us as a family, we're actually spending less money now.
Yes.
Because we're more, not because we think, oh, there's not enough money or we're in trouble financially, whatever. It's just, what do we really need?
Yeah.
And
It's
quite
all down to
often we just
essentials.
overbuy and overeat. I mean, my husband has been on the scales. He actually lost 7 kilos, which is like a stone since this started. And I was like, oh, maybe I have lost as well. Or hopefully I have. I mean, it's not that we actually had a special diet or, you know, or said, oh, we can't eat this. We just were more aware as to what
and
we're going to
probably
eat.
less
We
business
plan the food.
less business lunches, less takeouts, less all those kind of things. Back to real home cooking. I mean, we're not on rations by any manner of means, but I am looking carefully at what the boys are having. And, you know, and in France, where I live, they would always normally have like a 4 o'clock goûter. I'm just like, you're not expending the energy. So I really can't justify you having that and then a full dinner, having had a full lunch and having a breakfast. So, you know, you've got to skip some things. And, you know, if they don't get up until late or at the weekend, I'm just like, you don't get to have breakfast and lunch and dinner. But there's
and then snacks in between, all of that extra.
And there's certainly a lot less sweets going around, you know. So I think they're really, you know, appreciating that. And the fact that we all go out and do a little bit of sport in the evening is becoming a routine. So routine is very important as well, and sort of spending that time with people and things as well. How is this working with your business and things like that? Because you are the queen of, you know, helping people with their businesses and taking things forward. So how are you seeing that is changing as far as sort of bringing more business online than maybe sort of face to face? How's that changing for you?
So I've always been mainly working online anyway. So the way I do business isn't changing as such. I just feel like for myself and my clients, the market is actually opening up. So it's actually good news in that sense, because I work with a lot of spiritual entrepreneurs who obviously know their stuff and they do amazing transformations, but they just don't have that business strategy or the skill set as to putting the technology in place and getting the leads in a more structured way. And this is what I do basically. I'm a very structured sort of project management type of person. So I feel in that sense, it's a beautiful awakening for everybody, you know. And I say this, you know, one could say, well, this is great because things are opening up. Remember, I say it in a loving energy, because I know we can help so many other people that were potentially trapped, and that now have found a new awakening, a new freedom, that need that support, that leap. There may be people who are in a bad way right now that will actually need, you know, support and help going forward to actually come out of a traumatic experience potentially. And of course we have all, you know, people who are losing, you know, loved ones. So I feel there's an abundance. There's going to be an abundance of business coming to my clients and myself as well as a business
So more
startup.
support is going to be needed. Yeah.
Exactly. And then also I'm thinking there's a lot of people maybe wanting to start a business online. That's
Yes.
what I do as well.
Yeah.
Or they may be forced to start a business because they've lost their
Yeah.
jobs, right? And those who yeah, absolutely. So starting businesses, for example. But on the other hand, I have a second business which has been running about 18 months. It started off where I had this vision to actually go and write a book with 100 inspirational women and share their stories. So I've had this mission to go and inspire with others and create community around it. And let me just grab them so people can just get a gist of what it is. So the first book was called Rise in Pursuit of Empowerment. And it talks about empowerment stories of women, how they've overcome adversity and challenges. So it's weird, isn't it, to pull these stories out now and saying, hey, there's many people that have gone through potentially what you're going through right now, and you can get some great insights and what you can do. And then the second book came out just 2 months ago, called Joy, Recipes for Abundance. And this whole idea was, hey, are we being really joyful, or we are forgetting who we are and what we have in our lives? This was the idea, to actually bring back the joy into everyday life, how we can just get that into that moment. So that's 2 books.
I find that very inspirational and also kind of profound in the fact that if you look up metaphysically what a virus is all about, it's really about sucking the joy out of things. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the work that I do with women is very much that. I mean, I love it when I ask my clients or potential clients, like, so, what do you do for fun? Because we really need to show where you are on this sort of the stress scale of life. How well are you coping? And they're like, it's really embarrassing, Fiona. I can't really think of the last time I had fun. And I'm like, yes, brilliant. Because, there's this fun side, this exuberant, this joyful side that's just like mischievous side, or scallywag, as I would say, that hasn't been allowed out because we just got too sensible, too serious, too practical, and we just haven't allowed all that out. And, when you read about the metaphysical side of sort of viruses and things like that, it's like, they just suck the life out of everything. And, we're just missing so much joy. And because I help people partner with their soul, when they find their soul, they're like, oh my God, talk about high spirits. Talk about being naughty and cheeky and just
lose that mask.
Wanting to live,
exactly.
wanting to be alive. And, like, my God, where's all the taste and the flavour and the colours that have gone out of life? I've been living in mediocre and shades of grey, and I'm like, yes, your soul is calling you, put the colour back in. So I'm so interested watching this whole process and speaking to amazing ladies like you about, what came before? Where was your soul intervening? Did you wrote a book, you had those thoughts. Then it feels like we've been training for this particular time for a very long time, this downtime. And it's not going to be over in 4 weeks, we're all going to be sent out into the big wide playground to play again, but to immunitize ourselves by getting the virus, or, like we had to do for chickenpox or mumps, So we're
exactly, and you're right. But the interesting thing here is that I don't think it was entirely my idea, or let's say it wasn't from a logical place that I had the idea, because I literally woke up and it was a message: go and write the book with 100 inspirational women and share their stories. It was just that.
Yeah.
Right?
That's how I get woken up as well. I get woken up with songs in my head, and I woke up probably about a year ago now, and then I tried it, kind of gave up on it, and then it came up again this year about soul partnering. And I want to play with more souls, my soul said. Go and find me more souls to play with. Go and find me more soul sisters, so that we can have those great conversations and we can just watch them leap and bound ahead. And, phenomenal inner strength is basically how I worded it, because you become so much more resilient and you've got soul assistance with whatever you want. And then I was told, write the book. And it's exactly what you say. It's not like, what should I do for today? What's on the schedule? What's on my list of things to do? It's just like, there's something in you that's pushing and pushing and pushing and will not go away, will not give up until you write it down, until you say it, until you do it. This is
and if you if you are open to this opportunity, and if you don't close it off, 'cause at that time I could have said, well, actually, I'm not even a native English speaker. How am I going to write a book? I've never written a book. I don't know how to do this. I'm scared, and you know what?
Yeah.
But I opened it up and I continued doing what I was doing, and I had I guess the door was open for the books. I didn't say no, it's not going to happen. And then what happened? 2 weeks after, I met the right people, namely a copywriter and a publisher that, you know, already guided me straight away what I needed to do. It said, well, it's not going to be one book with 100 stories, because that's going to be a lot of work. Make it 4 books. So guess what?
This is exactly, I knew it. When I invited you to have a call with me, I knew that this is the kind of conversation we'd end up having. So we go through that, what's going on and all the rest of it, getting to know each other. And this comes through, because this is exactly how it works. This is how your soul intervenes. And I'm very much of the belief that your soul speaks to you in so many different ways, not only songs in your heads and inspirational ideas, but, you know, physical things as well. Like I had sciatica for a very long time. I had a very sore hip for a very long time, just these last few months, until I actually sat down and said, right, today I'm going to spend the whole day and I'm going to write out the whole plan, the chapters and everything else. That evening, my hip was better, or at least 90% better. And I know that when it comes back, it's because my soul's saying, come on, come on. And this is the way she has spoken to me over the last, probably my whole life. I mean, I've had some pretty wacky experiences, but, you know, this is what's happening. This is what's happening, is to sort of like, okay, we're in this next phase of the population on this planet, and we need these books, we need these high vibrations, we need these kind of ladies out there, men out there, who are taking things to the next level. We cannot keep doing the same things, because we'll keep getting the same results. So yeah, this is absolutely perfect. And, you know, my soul says to me too, is like, get the bare bones down, all the basic structures that we've already given you. And I'm speaking to this collective, and they're kind of like giving me this information when I ask the right questions. And I'm like, oh my God, but that's book 2. You know, like how to work, rest and play with your soul is book 2. The first one is just saying hello. The second one is working. And the third one, I'm really, really looking forward to kind of getting down. It's like, both my boys have their soul. They both talk, get instructions, understand, or ask for help from their soul. And I'm like, I want to write the book with them about how they work with their soul, because they teach me, and I do something like that, but how do you do it? Because they're kind of doing it on their own. A lot of this stuff doesn't work if you're taught it, because then you are structured a lot. So this has to really come through in its own way.
Intuition.
Yeah. Totally. And it's got nothing to do with what you've been taught or what you believe or what anybody else is doing.
What I find, I mean, a lot of people are saying meditation is a good way to open intuition, and I agree to that. But if you're just doing a daily thing, it's like having a very hot shower. Just close your eyes and try not to think about anything. You'll get the best ideas in a shower.
Well, you see, that's brilliant. You see, because everybody has a different way of doing it. When I first was introduced to meditation, I mean, I'm very resistant and I'm an overthinker and like all the rest of it. I plan a list of things to do. So I'm the ideal person, because if I can do it, anybody can do it. But for me, sitting down, I was bored rigid. I was just like, no way. I know I have to be out there doing something naughty or high risk or on the edge, like massive horse riding. But I know I only need that every 3 or 4 months. And then I'm like, oh, that's out of my system. Or I, play chase with the boys or do something silly or do something wacky. But, if it's a hot shower, if it's hugging a tree, fine. If it's sitting in meditation, fine. But it's just not the way that I get my best inspiration. I get it when I'm singing and dancing and I'm in the car and I'm shrieking as if a song's just come on the radio, and I get it. I'm like, oh my God, I get it. The message comes through. So there are so many different ways for intuition to come through, and it's not all sitting cross-legged, you know, with your mandalas and your chakras and everything else all lined up. It's just like, oh my God, that's the most bizarre way that can come through. If it's rock music or whatever it is that gets you out of your thinking, overthinking, strategizing mind, then find out what it is and go for it. But the hot shower is brilliant, of course.
Exactly. Or evenings when I'm in bed, and also, oh, I always need a pen and paper next to my bed. So
I get woken up at like 5 o'clock in the morning or something, or if I have a night when I just absolutely cannot get to sleep, I don't fight it anymore. I'm just like, okay, so at some point in the night, I'm just going to have this like bam, 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 bam. You know, these ideas are just going to come flooding through. I might as well just wait for them and then just make sure I pay good attention.
Exactly. Yeah, and this happened to me the other day as well. It was Easter Sunday in the evening when I had the idea for the third book, which is really apt for what's happening right now. It's going to be called, potentially, I think it's going to be called Shift. A new era begins.
Yeah, and we don't need one book or two books. There's so many of us who are getting the same message sort of coming through in so many different ways and written in a different way. And sometimes you need to see things, or people need to see things 100 different times to have that experience before they kind of go, okay.
Yeah, I got it now. Yeah.
I talk about the pivotal point. I talk about when things are really bad, when you've just had that, oh my God, I can't take this anymore, you know, and whether it's to do with weight, physical symptoms, financial loss, relationship breakdown, something like that. And it's just like, I can't take this anymore. And it's when you scream those things out and you kind of go, I'll do anything to make this stop. And that's when, for me, the spirit comes through. So I'm just wanting to thank you so much for sort of sharing a little bit of your story today, and the fact that, you know, you're also getting these profound messages coming through, and it's just so valuable to sort of let people know that this is the way that spirit works, because I'm all about, you know, how spirit works, and that the right people will come through at the right time. So thank you so much for you spending time with me today.
Thank you, Fiona. It was a pleasure.
All mine. Thank you so much.